Ladies and gentlemen, today, one of the things Mike and I talked about is not being a secret agent. That's one of the things he tasked me to kind of touch on. And I know I touched on this prior to the training. And kind of what I mean by not being a secret agent, y'all know I like to use the term broker, being an insurance broker, an insurance producer. I like to use the term for this conversation visibility. Okay. Anyone that understands business, that understands marketing, that understands how to be successful in any business, whether that's insurance, sales, real estate, there has to be some level of visibility in your business. Now, if you want to drive production, like you want to have a game plan, a strategy, many of our game plans and strategies are what? Buy leads, right? Which is very efficient. Dial your leads, schedule appointments, right? Have a lead order on a weekly basis. That's perfectly fine. So I do recommend have your pipeline field of high intent clients that are looking to inquire about your product or service. If that can be Medicare, if that can be final expense, that can be annuity. So definitely do that. But another component that I recommend you not leave on the table is visibility, because visibility allows you to have organic marketing done and organic traffic going through your business. Markets, what do you mean by visibility? If you ask me, I like to say you have to always be open for business. So visibility can be on social media. Visibility can be in your family's group chat. Visibility can be within your community. Visibility can be at your workplace. If you guys, some people are probably not working 9 to 5, some maybe BBR. Visibility is when someone thinks about this product, in our case, final expense, they think about Jack. When someone thinks about Medicare, they think about Earl. And I'm not sure Earl does Medicare now or how to hear, right? But if someone thinks about mortgage protection, they think about policy for their child, they think about Nia, right? If someone thinks about, right, a whole life cash value policy, so they think about Latoya, think about Destiny. That's the level of visibility I recommend. So my mindset was this. I tell people, well, Marcus, how do you become visible? Well, here's some things I did. When I very first started, I always have a mindset that amateurs join companies, but professionals launch their business, right? I'm gonna say this again. Amateurs join companies, but professionals launch their business. Marcus, what do you mean by that? It's one thing to contract and join Simon Legacy Financial or join True Wealth or join Lasting Market. Now you're just doing following the play and that's it. You know what? So I'm behind the scenes, I'm dialing my leads, but nobody else in my community knows that I have an insurance business. But when you decide to launch your business, you say, you know what? I got to create an identity for myself, right? Who exactly, that could be a brand, that could be a name, that could just be some level of identity that I'm providing a product or service that's going to provide security, that's going to provide reassurance, that's going to leave a legacy and wealth for my family or for someone's family. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to announce that I'm so happy and grateful now that I am now a licensed insurance producer in the state of such and such and such, right? Right? I'm licensed in over X amount of states, and I will love to earn your business by helping you provide the security, the protection, and the peace of mind to your family, right? It's not about selling, but I'm putting myself out there to some capacity for folks to say, congratulations, Marcus. Good job. You got license, right? That's me launching my business, right? I'm making an announcement and letting people know. Guess what? I might put this on social media. I might put this again in my family's group chat. I might put it to a friend or family. Hey, I just got my license. I'm now a licensed producer. I'm licensed in over X amount of states. All right. And I now provide the protection, the security, and peace of mind for your family. And guess what? I would love to earn your business. See me, I use that term a lot. I would love to earn your business. Right? I always use that term. So, but that's a piece of the launch. Now it's about how can I be intentional? How can I have somewhat of a call to action, right? As far as that launch. So what I'm probably going to do, this is just me, right? Right. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to schedule a time where I'm now exposing people to the value of insurance. That can be some type of opportunity call. That can be some type of segment that Michael generally have with Well. That could be a lasting mark launch call. But I want to now expose people to not only the opportunity as far as a agent or a broker, but start educating people on the value of why they should or shouldn't have insurance. I'm probably going to let people know today that for the next 25 people, right, that inquire, I'll be providing free quotes for the next 25 people today. Or guess what? Today, my goal is to help 10 families become secure. My goal is to give 10 families the peace of mind of knowing that if they were able ever left this earth due to an untimely passing, their family is protected and secure. You know, in fact, I'm probably going to put something like that on my stories on social media today, or probably make a reel or something of that nature today, right? So now I'm inquiring people. I think I made a post yesterday. I think I said something along the lines of maybe I'll kind of read it so I can be verbatim. I think I made a post on yesterday on my Instagram at Mr. Wealthy Vibes underscore. I think I made a post. I said, um, it's one of the ones that got a lot of traction yesterday. And I said, everyone's keep asking me, when will I officially start hiring brand new licensed insurance producers to my insurance agency? Very soon, right? Each agent will have a multi six-figure sales strategy. Guess what? I literally got polls of people that says, I'm interested in being licensed. I think I got my actual blur on to blur off real quick. So let me turn it off. Blur background. Have polls of people that's like, I'm interested in being licensed. Like I'm ready to get licensed. Like, and I sent the message early this morning because I woke up to it, right? But the point of that message was not just about, I'm sorry, was not just about getting new agents, is I created a sense of urgency, right? I created some sense of urgency to the person that's like, you know what? He already has a packed calendar. He already has a lot of people. I want to get in that number. And I will probably do the same thing today, but target clients, right? You know what? I have tons of people that are reaching out to me today that wants to inquire more about mortgage protection for their family, or wants to inquire more about a final expense burial policy for their wife or for their mother or for their father, things of that nature, right? So that creates some sense of urgencies for people. There's a lot of people like Brittany Garrison. She does a phenomenal job on TikTok. She does great on all platforms. But here's the thing: she found a lane that works, and she tapped into. She tapped into a market. You know, me personally, at first she'll tell you, I thought, you guys can deem me for this. I thought, I'm not gonna say old people, elderly people wasn't on TikTok. I thought they were just on Facebook. But needless to say, right, she found a lane that she cracked wide open a market of people that are still, because why? She's visible. She created a lane of visibility to some capacity. So my biggest thing I'm saying to you guys and tying into what Nia did yesterday, and to what I did as far as age leads and talking about visibility, is I like to make this point as well and take it for what it's worth. But you got to find a way to win. That's my mindset. Every single day, I got to find a way to win. I'm not going to sit and say, you know what, this lead didn't, I caught all these leads and nobody picked up, so now I'm discouraged. Or, I door knocked a couple doors and no one, got a sale. Now I'm discouraged. No, I got to find a way to win. So you have to be able to extend your mind to multiple ways for you to be able to be successful within this business. Find a way. Especially if you're someone that feels as if um, um, you may not have the resources as you would like right now, because you're definitely going to get it, to be able to buy a lot of leads. Now, here's the thing about visibility also, right? And this is the biggest part. Like, I need everybody to hear me. And I'm not going to directly call people out, but indirectly, here's what I'm going to tell you people lack: consistency. And somebody going to text me and they're going to be like, he might be talking about me, right? Because if you're visible on social media, and let's say that like you made a video and you did it one time and you never did it again, you already dropped the ball. Your visibility has to be consistent. Let's say it's like you made a post and you got some traction, you did it one time. Your lack of consistency means that you dropped the ball. Let's say like you went out there and talked to people, you did it one time. Visibility requires consistency. Let me ask you guys a question. And I think I asked this point to a couple of my brokers before. If you were in the market to buy a home right now, right? Make sure I'm good on time, Mike. If you were in the market to buy a house, and think about it right now. If you're on social media and you're seeing bunches of realtors, But you got this person that they talk about selling a house here and there, right? They might talk about homes here and there. But it's this one person that's always on your timeline. If they got one like or two, they're always educating on what the market is doing now, the interest rates, the mortgages. They're showing closed houses they're closing. They're sitting down at the closing table. They're always educating. Even though you're not ready to buy that house right now, catch this. You're probably not liking their post, are you? Probably sometimes you probably are, but because that's not in right now your focus, you might not be engaging with them, right? But that person is still doing what? Posting, sharing, talking about it. But what happens is soon as you get to the space where now like you want to buy a house, who do you reach out to? Do you reach out to the person that you know that does real estate here and there? Or is it that one person that you kept seeing over and over and over again on your social media that's in the community that's putting it out there? Because why? They built that trust in your mindset. Their consistency allowed that validation for you to be like, oh man, I need to work with that person. That's what you got to be. You got to be like that person because guess what? There's people right now that may need insurance that may not be engaging with you right now because it may not be a factor for them at the moment, right? But there's people that are. But if you stay consistent, I guarantee you, I have people that have never engaged with me. They're reaching out because now life has turned to a place where they have to now inquire about insurance. They now got to inquire about Medicare. They now got to inquire. Last thing I would tell you as far as visibility. Visibility, here's the biggest piece, right? Visibility opens doors for relationships. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'll always tell all the time, I learned this from my mentor, this game. The relationship game, I'm telling you, is what allowed me to really, 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 really be able to, I would say, have some level of success in business. Because the people that I'm partnered with, the people, the clients that I've had, I can tell you how a relationship came about as to why those things had to happen, right? I did a senior home event last week. I can tell you guys, and people talk about events. I had a relationship, catch this, I have a relationship with a residential coordinator in Columbia, South Carolina. She's the resident coordinator of a senior facility called the Finley House. The Finley House houses almost 700 senior residents. So how I got there is because guess what? I had a lead prior for a client there. When I was walking out almost 2 years ago, I said, "Hey, is there a coordinator here by chance?" Right? So I said, "Ma'am, sir," I think it was a gentleman at the time. I spoke to him, and what happened was is I had shirts on XYZ, and I said, "Hey, you know what? I actually have a client here today," and I realized that there's some gaps in the understanding they have in terms of insurance. I would love to come back by just to educate your people on the value or question they may have when it comes to their final expense or their Medicare. They loved it. They put me on their list. I may remain visible. But what happened was that I got on a consistent rotation with them. So that one relationship allowed me to be able to be visible in their building. So when they have questions, their tenants have questions about their Medicare, final expense, all that stuff like that, guess what? They contact me. Let's go a step further. But because of that relationship, last week they had a chapter meeting of all the resident coordinators in South Carolina in one room. Guess what? That relationship invited me in to speak to over 20 plus different resident coordinators that I now exposed myself to and became more visible to them as well. Now they reach out to me to ask questions and things or want their tenants or there are things of that nature to do. Visibility in relationships. So listen, guys, as I conclude this, like all I can say is today, what area of your business can you truly become more visible in? If you ask yourself today, have I truly been kind of just sitting behind the computer, sitting home, twiddling my thumbs, waiting on my coach or mentor to tell me to do A, B, C, D? Have I been waiting on Mike? Have I waiting on Jalen? Have I waiting on Caitlin? Have I just been kind of sitting back trying to figure it out? Or have I been writing down my goals and finding a way to win? Figuring out how can I put myself in this environment? How can I put myself out there on social media? How can I put myself out there to my community? How can I put myself out there in order to be more visible, to gain traction, to win? So go out here and win 10, 20, 30, $100,000 a month is done. Let's go.
Good morning. What's up, Marcus? That was great. We appreciate you today, always. Man, you guys, good morning. How you guys feeling today? How are you guys feeling? Michael, thank you for the opportunity, as always, to be here in front of the amazing True Wealth community. You guys, we get money here, okay? So you guys are a part of a great, great, great organization. But I definitely have to give it back to Michael and both Jalen for being the young men that they are, their leadership, the way they show up, the systems they've put together, the time that they invested on the back end, on the front end, the time they invested 3 to 4 years ago to develop themselves into the men they are today. We appreciate you. And I definitely want to acknowledge the whole entire team here today and the community as well. And also our leadership team that's growing, that's making this all possible. You guys are awesome and amazing. But without further ado, I want to highlight how being a part of a strong organization will give you a chance to succeed. I want to remind each and every single one of you guys, as you're listening to this right now, you guys are a part of a very, 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 very strong organization that's going to allow you to succeed if you desire to succeed. I want to mention to you guys that success does not happen alone. Um, success actually happens when we collectively lean into our leadership team, lean into the systems that we have here provided. We lean into the support that we have, but the accountability that's been provided by the team. Success does not happen alone. So I definitely just quickly want to briefly share, my journey when I had my first like 120 days in, my first 90 days in quickly. When I started, you guys, I just want to pinpoint how I really did not have a lot of money. I went from, and I'm so transparent, you guys. I always tell people, like, when I first started this industry of life insurance and any other entrepreneur business thing I was trying, I was barely doing more than 3,000 a month. I wasn't working a 9 to 5 because I had 2 kids. I was a single mom. At the time, I was living home with my parents. So, I wasn't making a lot of money. $3,000 a month is just not a lot of money, right? So when I got a part of the insurance community, I'm like, wow, I actually really have to buy leads. I didn't have a lot, but I made what I had work and I was willing to put in the time. I remember barely having $400, you guys, for leads. I didn't know exactly how I was going to make this happen, but I promise you, I was willing to bet on myself and put in the work. Listen, when the odds are stacked against you, right? When you've already hit rock bottom, the only way left to go, you guys, is up. If you've hit rock bottom, you guys, the only way left to go is up. What else can you truly lose? Is the question. So when I realized that I was willing, and I've always been willing to bet on myself, I stayed consistent. I followed this system that Michael and Jalen provided me. And I committed to giving it everything I had in those first 120 days. Like Mike said, I called him, hi, I three-wayed him quickly. I'm on the call with a client, meet yourself. I didn't even really tell him what's happening. He has to figure it out. I'm merging the call. He's listening to a presentation unknowingly. But the fact that I was willing to take the little bit of money I had, the $300, the $400, I wasn't buying high intent leads, but I was willing to put in the work, you guys. Work ethic outdoes everything. Work ethic outdoes the smartest person. Work ethic and being able to go out there and put in the work will outbeat your high top producer, right? You guys, if you guys, I want to tell you guys something. The power, and I want to emphasize this isn't luck. It was about following a proven system. Going from 3 grand to 20 grand a month consistently by joining True Wealth is insane. I started with True Wealth, you guys, in June of last year, not June of 2023. June of 2024. I haven't been with True Wealth for a year yet. Not a year. Some will call it luck. Some will call it a handout. But others will look at me and see that this was really hard work, dedication, and willing to put in the work. So let me tell you guys something. The power of outworking is the power of it all. Let Clark, let's look at Clark, for example. He's at the top of the chain right now. Let me tell you guys something. Clark is no different than you guys. But I will tell you what he is willing to do that's a bit different than what you guys are doing. And he's outworking everybody right now. All he is doing is just putting in the hours. I know that's all he's doing. He's putting in the hours. So I want you guys to look around at our success team. I want you to look at, the top 10 people, the Marcus Simons, the Shanae Hicks, the Clark Stanley, anybody in the community right now that's doing this, that's putting in the work right now, that you guys are looking at, that you guys are inspired by, that's making you say like, wow, all they're doing is outworking. When Sally goes on the date with her husband on Saturday for brunch, I was working. When Clark can be doing anything else this morning, he could probably be in the gym, but what he said is, I'm going to sacrifice and I'm going to start my day earlier, because you can be all bulked up and big, but my bank account's going to be bulked up and big, right? He's sacrificing right now, right? Clark, I don't know your story. You might go to the gym, but I was just using that as an example. So I want to highlight the power of systems that we have here, you guys, in our community. Here's the truth. What made it possible, you guys, wasn't just our drive, wasn't just Clark's drive. It was the foundation that we had here through the team, right? So the system we have in place, the leads, the time blocking, the consistency, it's all a system that we follow each and every single day. So the leadership here that we have just make sure. So Jalen and Mike, they've always made sure that we didn't have to figure it out alone. And they're still here today making sure that we don't have to figure it out alone. That's why we are giving the leads. That's why we're giving the resources. That's why we are told step by step what to do. And there's actual people here that are provenly having the results. So I want to reinforce that those who follow the system and those that lead into the team will see results, period, point blank. You want to be, I got it all by myself. Oh, Mr. I got it all by myself. Mr. I've been doing this for 30 years. You can't tell me nothing, Mrs. I'm sorry, but that's just not how it works. You have to be willing to learn. You don't know it all, and you don't know what you don't know, and you only know what has gotten you this far. So be willing and being open to hearing what your other success team member is willing to tell you that they've done, and go repeat it. That's it. So with all that being said, I'm going to end the call by saying, stay focused, stay intentional. I want to remind each and every single one of you guys that over the next 120 days of your life, you can change anything. If you're that single mom that has barely $300 to scrape for leads a week, I feel you. If you're that father that has to take care of his wife, that has to take care of his children, maybe you have a grandchild, maybe you have adult children that aren't financially capable of doing things and you're always having to dig in your pocket for them, I feel you. I know what all of this looks like, but I want to remind you guys and encourage you guys that we'll support you. Let's finish this year strong. Let's make this happen and let's lean into the system. It's already here, it's provided. And Mike, thank you. Jalen, thank you. Love you guys so much. And I'm gonna give it back to you guys.
KB, I was dying when you said I was sacrificing the gym. I texted Jack and Paul and I was like, yeah, I do. I probably sacrificed that too much. So I probably needed that call out. So I appreciate it. Uh, hey y'all. So first thing I want you to write down. Now I feel like I'm talking to clients. Hey Betty, if you could grab me a pen and paper. If you guys can write this down, and my old preacher days are going to come out here. I don't know how to talk without having like a subject or a person I'm building the talk around. But if you could write this down, what you're not changing, you're choosing. What you're not changing, you're choosing. And I think so many times, myself included, we think like we're going about our day, our normal habits, and we don't realize that everything we are doing in our day is a conscious choice, or sometimes it's an unconscious choice, as a subconscious choice. So if you're not changing parts of your mindset, your persistence, your drive, your work ethic, then you're choosing that. You're choosing that is how you want to go about your day and live your day. And I think a lot of times we feel out of control of that, but that is all entirely in our control. And I want to talk about that. Um, we know I've talked about now like fear of failure and different things. But mindset in telesales, especially, is literally like the gateway to being successful in this. And last time I talked about Tom Brady, and I mentioned Michael Jordan, the true GOAT, like Michael Scott would say. I agree. So I want to just center that around him and his story a little bit today, and the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. A growth mindset helps you embrace challenges and see no's as potential yeses, or no's as a mirror to yourself. Hey, this is what I can look at and work on because it got me a no this time. What can I tweak to make that a yes next time? So a growth mindset is just the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning and persistence. That's it. And like I said, that's crucial when we're on the phone selling, um, because you're going to hear a lot of no's. You're going to get a lot of misses. You're going to miss the shot a lot. Where a fixed mindset is the belief that your abilities are static, they're stuck, and you can become easily discouraged because you're like, well, this is just who I am. This is how I'm wired. And ask yourself, just be honest with yourself. Do you have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? Do you get to 1 p.m. in the day, you haven't got anyone on the phone, you got cussed out, the one person that did answer, and you're like, today's shot? Or do you go, all right, what have I done wrong? What could I do a little differently the next half of my day to end on a strong note? You're always in control of that. So what you're not changing, you're choosing. What you're not changing, you're choosing. An author, Carol Dweck, she wrote a book about sales success. She said, the view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. The view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. So be honest with yourself. How do you view yourself? Do you view yourself as someone who's capable, or do you view yourself as someone who is, maybe I'm trying it. I failed the last three things. My family doesn't really believe that I can do this. This would probably just be the fourth thing that I'm not able to do. And that mindset, that growth mindset, was central to Michael Jordan's success and key to his success in life and on the court. So when the growth mindset leads to two things, it leads to resilience and perseverance. And we can talk about, like, we hear a lot of these cliches and all these words, growth and resilience, and all these things, right? But there's actual stats and data to back up a lot of this as well. And I have some of that because I want to share it with you. I think it's encouraging. Rejection is inevitable. I got rejected 3 times yesterday. That's fine. But I got 5 yeses yesterday. And they were dispersed throughout the day. If I stopped after my second no, my second rejection, I may have had 1 or 2 wins yesterday. 44% of salespeople, 44% report that rejection is their biggest challenge. Almost half of every salesperson has said that rejection is their biggest challenge. So how you respond to that is going to determine whether you're at the top of the leaderboard or somewhere in the middle or bottom. So I want you to see failure not as a setback, not a no, an objection, a hang up, a cuss out, whatever that is. It's not a setback. It's a setup for your comeback. It's laying the groundwork. Okay, I just got rejected in this way. What did I do wrong? And ask yourself honestly, what did I do in that moment that led to that rejection, that no? And how can I tweak what I did there? Because that's the mirror right there. If you want to know where am I most consistently getting a no, or most consistently losing my client in the call, that's the area you need to work on. So that right there is a framework or a platform for you to work on, where you need the most help, and then set yourself up for success in the future. Salesforce ran a study. It said successful salespeople are 12% more likely to follow up persistently on leads. 12% more likely to continue following up on leads. So people who are seeing success in any industry, it shows that perseverance, that continuing to push, isn't just important, it's essential. You have to do it. So I want to talk here. The thing that I think, and I appreciate the shout out and the love there, KB. The thing that I think has helped me see the success I've seen has been goal setting. I have goals written everywhere on my desk and my phone. I have reminders that pop up every morning. I know what I'm aiming at every single day. Michael Jordan, his goals were not small. He wanted to be the best at every single thing he did, not just games. It was in practice, it was in the gym, I mean, even gambling. Like the dude was the best at every single thing he did. And it's crucial to your success in this business as well. It's hitting a certain number of calls. Like Jack said, shout out Jack. He said, I'm going to get 3 today. It was 8 p.m. Easy to log off there. And I texted him at like 9:30 and said, "Hey, just got my fifth for the day." And he said, "I just got my third." And I was like so hyped because we both committed to each other our number and we both stayed on. And it was just cool knowing simultaneously we were both like, I could lounge out, I could throw on Seinfeld, but we got back on and kept dialing till we hit our goal to commit. We committed to each other. Um, I want to say so. Sales teams with clear goals are 47% more likely to achieve their targets. Just knowing what you're aiming at, you're almost 50% more likely to hit your target if you just know what you're. Because if you are blindfolded shooting a basketball or you're shooting a go, whatever you're aiming at, if you don't know what you're aiming at, if you're not looking in the direction that you want to go, how are you going to hit that? So just setting a goal for yourself daily, weekly, and monthly, both in calls, presentations, apps, that will lead to the AP. I don't know if you know who Zig Ziglar is. He's a motivational speaker. Um, he once said, "You don't have to be great to start. You have to start to be great." You don't have to be great to start. You just have to start to be great. And Jordan's approach exemplified this. He set goals. He took action. He didn't stop till he achieved them. He had late nights in the gym. He had early mornings in the gym. So that leads to, and what I think is something that Mike and Jalen embody, and Marcus and KB and people who've seen success embody, and I see it and you hear it when they talk, is positive energy and focus. It's contagious. Michael Jordan's mental preparation for each game was about focusing on the opportunity in front of him, not the risks. You're risking a lot doing this. You don't have a salary to fall back on. You risk feeling silly on the phone. You risk a lot, right? But a positive attitude and focusing on that can transform the dynamic of your calls. Optimistic sales. Another stat. I had to bring the stats today because we can say all this, but I want you to see that it applies in real life. Optimistic salespeople are 57% more likely to close deals compared to less optimistic people. That's it. Just being optimistic. That was a Forbes study that they ran. A positive mindset helps you build better rapport and trust, and that directly influences your sales success. You ever finish a sale and get the next person on the phone? You notice that, like, the swag you have in just a little bit in your presentation because you just finished one. You're like, I know I can do this. Approach every single call like you just closed a $3,000 AP sale. You already got the money in your pocket. Like I think Chris Paul said, sell like you got $1 million in your pocket. Another study from Ziglar Inc. found that 93% of communication is nonverbal. You hear that all the time. We're on the phone, but that means that tone and energy is where that comes into play. Your attitude can be felt by your prospect, even over the phone. A quote that I love from Jordan is, "I never looked at the consequences of missing a big shot. When you think about the consequences, you always think of a negative result." I never looked at the consequences of missing a big shot. When you think about the consequences, you always think of a negative result. I have a picture. So I have a couple desks set up down here for when like Paul or Jack want to come over and call. And above the other desk is just a picture, my favorite picture of Kobe. and it's right before he hit a game winner over the Heat in the NBA Finals in 2000, I think it was 8. But I love it because there's no part of him in his brain where he's like, what if I miss? Because you'll never take the shot if you're always worried about if you're gonna miss. Or maybe you take the shot, but you're in your head, you're like, what if it doesn't go in? You're overanalyzing all of your mechanics. So just take the shot. Don't focus on consequences. And I want you to know, I think a turning point for me was when I realized I'm not selling the what, excuse me, I'm selling the what, I'm not selling the how. And that comes across now. It helps if I have a positive mindset, if I have a good attitude, if I'm giving them good energy on the phone, I'm excited about the what, not the how. If I'm selling you a plane ticket, I'm not focusing on, hey, it's only if you're going to Paris, I'm not saying, hey, it's only a 13-hour flight. They have Biscoff cookies, and I'm going to tell you about the mechanics of the plane so you feel safe. No, I'm selling you when you get to Paris, you're going to have the best meal of your life. You get to see the Eiffel Tower in person. You're going to see art museums that you've only seen pictures of. I'm selling you the what. And what we're doing with our clients is we're selling them the what. Hey, you didn't play. You're not saying this to them, but they didn't plan well for their life. They're in a position now where they have to do something to take care of their family when they pass. They don't have the resources to make sure their family's taken care of. It's keeping them up at night. It's stressing them out. That's why they filled this out. At the bottom, even if they don't admit that, even if they're being mean to you, even if they say they're just looking at the underneath all of that, they're worried about if their son or daughter or spouse is going to have money to pay for them after they're gone. So you're selling the what? You're selling peace of mind. You're selling making sure that your grandkids don't have to miss a field trip because their parents didn't have money because they had to pay for their funeral. You're touching a very, very deep pain point. You're selling the what, not the how. One more quote for you. This isn't the quote, but I wrote down, success doesn't come from occasional effort. It's about consistent and dedicated action. It's not occasional effort. It's not, oh, I'll tap in and give them a good 2 hours and then take a 2 hour lunch and then scroll Instagram and then I'll start calling again at 2 p.m. and probably get hung up on, get discouraged. Oh, that was my day. It's dedicated and consistent action. And the quote is, I want you to write down or whatever, you can share it, is transformation happens when you do consistently what you used to do occasionally. You can have bursts of, oh man, this is great. I'm doing, you can have bursts or occasional moments of great attitude, effort, mindset, activity, but transformation in your business and in your life happens when you do consistently what you used to do occasionally. And Jordan's consistency in practice and preparation and execution was key to becoming the greatest, arguably the greatest athlete to live. The top salespeople maintain consistent routine of prospecting, follow-ups. Uh, um, um, I think it was 9. It takes the average of 9 follow-ups to make a touch with a client. 9. That's 3 triple dials. I mean, shoot, I've triple dialed somebody 20 times before I got them on the phone. McKinsey and Company found that top performers reach about 20% more frequently than their peers. So ask yourself, how much am I actually reaching out to my client? Am I doing it as much as I say I am? I feel annoying. Oh, I don't want to call them again. Oh, they were kind of grumpy with me last time. If 3 more calls is the difference between a 10,000 AP month and a 20,000, are you willing to put in that extra 20%? Last quote here for you. Um, I had to throw in my boy Aristotle, but he famously said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Success in this business, like success in basketball, like Michael Jordan, or any walk of life, is built on consistent application of effort over time. So success is rooted in persistence and mindset. And like I said at the very beginning, what you're not changing, you're choosing. So if you're not changing your mindset, you're choosing that mindset. So ask yourself honestly, what is my mindset? What are my fears? What are my insecurities when I go into the day? What are my habits? If you're not changing those things, you're choosing them. And are you okay choosing them? And are the things you're choosing setting you up to succeed? Or are they giving you less than results that you're not happy with? So remember, every no is a mirror to work on things or to show you what you need to work on to bring you a step closer to those becoming a yes. And as you continue to show up, stay focused, put in the work, and embrace those challenges, success will follow.